Oh, hey, Amy, what's up?
Hey.
Thanks for coming over.
Yeah, happy to come help with the cats anytime.
They just really like to be pet while I'm cutting their nails, and it's so important to cut their nails because, like, a lot of people don't know this, but older cats, their toenails can get ingrown. It's really gruesome, so... Yeah, thanks for just helping me give them like the best cat grooming situation.
Yeah, of course. Well, I believe in working together, so.
Cool. Well, let's just get my little cat Speck up on your knee, and here, if you could just pet him a little bit while I'm starting to brush him so he doesn't get too stressed out. Perfect. Okay. It's great that you're here because I was just thinking about the conversation we had about organizing the other day. And I found this really great group that were organizing kind of the way we were talking about, like we should be organizing. They were just using a lot of really cool tactics. And I just wanted to tell you a little bit more about it.
Yeah, I'd love to hear about it.
Cool. So the group is called ACT UP, which is an acronym for AIDS Coalition to Unleash Power. Have you heard of them?
I have, but I didn't know that was an acronym. How interesting.
So they're a direct action advocacy group that started in the 80s to really support people with AIDS and impact the way that AIDS was being addressed because it wasn't being addressed fast enough. And here, actually, before I get into it, if you could just kind of hold Speck's paw out for me, I'll just start trimming his nails a little bit.
Oh, yeah, just like this?
Yeah, perfect. Great. So in 1987, ACT UP formed. They had like 400 people when they formed. And in their first month, this is crazy to me, it just happened in their first month, they had a huge demonstration with 250 people on Wall Street. And during that, 17 people were arrested. But what was really powerful is that before that action even happened, there was an op-ed in the New York Times describing what issues they were concerned with, like what their demands were, what was important to them. Having that action or having the op-ed, either of those would have been really powerful, but putting those together was just like, that made it even more powerful. You know, people were able to understand what the action was about.
Yeah, it sounds like they really brought together multiple tactics to create a moment.
Yeah, it was super strategic. You know what? I'm just going to give Speck a little treat really quick because he's doing such a good job getting his nails done, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, just lovely. He's really, I don't know why you really needed me to come help you out.
Well, I want him to have like a relaxing time, and you know how much he loves being held.
It's true.
Okay, so there were a couple more actions that really stood out. So one was in April of 1987 on tax day, actually on April 15th. They did a big action to the audience of people filing their tax returns. So like before the internet, which is like, I know, impossible to imagine, but you had to go to the post office to do your taxes. And so everyone was lined up. And the news would always do a news report on people lining up to do their taxes at the last minute. So they kind of seized this moment where they had a captive audience and where they had members of the media just already there. And they used it to launch the Silence Equals Death project, which like unveiled the pink triangle on the black background as their logo, and they also were just using Silence Equals Death as their slogan. So they had this like really powerful logo, this really powerful statement, Silence Equals Death, but they had like a huge action to kind of put it out there, and so the media had to report on it, you know? And I just thought that was like so strategic and so important to like pair all those things together.
Yeah, it sounds like they did a really good job, and like I definitely have seen that around, so it must have had some longevity too.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Well, I feel like Speck's nails are all done now, so you wanted to move on to Taven, my other cat.
Let me just put her down over here.
So she gets so stressed out. I'm just going to give her a treat right out of the gate just to head off any stress that she could possibly be experiencing right now. So in October of 1988, they had one of their most successful demonstrations. So they actually shut down the FDA for a day. And they did a really good job of researching very specifically what was wrong with the FDA's regulations around new drugs treating HIV and AIDS. And they were able to like give a really precise list of demands. Like, these are the things we need to change. And that precise list of demands had a really big impact because the FDA and the NIH, like the next year, started kind of implementing some of those demands. And so I think this really shows that like you can have a big action, but if you don't have demands, it's really hard for people to know how to respond to your action. And there might be people who are like sympathetic to your cause, but if they don't know how to act, then they might just get kind of frustrated and not want to like join your movement, you know?
Totally. It sounds like they had a solution in mind, and they put that out there and used a lot of pressure to like make that happen.
Yeah, and you know, it's like you and I have talked about like the spectrum of allies, how there's like some people who are with you already and some people who are against you, and there's all these people in between, and we're just trying to like encourage those people to like be allies, like be on our side. And it was cool to see how it's just so much easier to like start taking action when somebody gives you something to do, like help us do this really important thing. Yeah, I just feel like there's a lot we can learn from them.
Yeah, I definitely really impressed with all the tactics they've been using.
You know what? I'm just like so excited about that. I'm just going to give both Speck and Taven another treat. Just bring them in on this moment, this like moment of like this epiphany that we're having right now.
Yeah, totally. We should celebrate.